keep that money flow. We'll keep the shiny side up wherever we go. Set your own schedule, master of the road. Hauling freedom's cargo, lightening up your load. Tips and tricks for truckers, yeah, we're helping you. From dawn till dusk, we'll see it through. Staying driven hard in it every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling 60 truckers, yeah, we're helping you. From dawn till dusk, we'll see it through. Staying driven hard in every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling city streets to the country lane. Driven trucking, we ease the strain. Keep your eyes on that line. From sunrise to moonshine. Owner operators, this show's for you. Tune in, get tips, and roll on through. From diesel fumes to mountain views, we'll guide your way. Hauling grit and glory every single day. On the rubber, feel the freedom in every bend. Driven trucking, your best highway friends. Staying driven hard in it every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling 60 truckers, yeah, we're helping you. From dawn till dusk, we'll see it through. Staying driven hard in every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling city streets to the country lane. Driven trucking, we ease the strain.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Hope you're all doing well. Hope you all got some good rest and ready to tackle this week. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you are new or you're catching this on the replay, check down in the comment section. I will have a pinned comment after this finishes its upload thing of when the trucking market update actually starts. Considering that this is live, you can skip all that stuff and go straight into it. But for those of you that are tuning in, I appreciate it. Good morning. Hope you're all doing well. Where's everybody at today? What do we got going on? Looking at the boards and all the info from yesterday, it's a completely different story from yesterday, which I find fascinating. I guess just the freight was overloaded yesterday, and it seems to have died down. Unfortunate, but that's why I do this. That's why I do this. That way you guys can stay up to date with the market and see everything that's going on. Making better decisions for you, for your truck, for your family, so you can make more money. Good morning, Laura. Thank you so much for these videos. I learned a lot about the trucking industry from you. Thanks. I appreciate that. I'm just doing what I can, you know. I just, it's been bugging me for a couple years, leaving this channel kind of sitting there and just knowing, you know, that the audience that's out there, and I just wanted to do something with it. And I'm thankful for DAT jumping through a few hoops for me, so that way I can actually be able to do this. So I'm just thankful to be able to do it, and I'm glad that that you're finding some value in that. Let's start off. Let's start off with today's dad joke. It's for Wednesday, September 4th. That's today. It says, I used to be a baker, but I couldn't raise the dough. It makes me chuckle. I hope it makes someone else chuckle. Morning, King. How you doing? So yeah, let's go ahead. We're just going to dive right in. I know some of you guys are tuning in while you're rolling, and certainly don't want to waste you guys' time, and just want to dive right in and provide that value that I am talking about, hopefully. So let's go ahead and get to it. And we're going to start where we always start, which is looking at the national load counts for loads in, loads out On a state basis overall, keep in mind this is not the market. Quick example would be like California, right? Northern California is not looking so hot. Southern California is always hot. So, um, that's just one example. Just because a state is looking good for loads in, loads out doesn't mean that necessarily that all the areas in that state are. But this kind of sets the barometer, gives us a nice starting point for where we can look. Um, let's see here. So Arkansas looking pretty solid, looking pretty healthy. 375 in to 638 out. Arizona was looking actually decent for Arizona yesterday, but it's way down. 543 to in to 194 out, which kind of alluded to yesterday. Just don't go there if you can help it. California looking decent. 1,677 in to 2,143 out. A little, it's a little bit low, but I mean at the same time it's a decent ratio, so you should be able to find some good loads over there. Colorado looking rough, no surprise there. Connecticut a little rough. DC 18 loads in, one load out. Uh, DC's no fun to drive around. So my first week trucking. Quick story. My first, but technically it was my second week. I took a short hop out of Lancaster, Texas, over to Plainview, Texas, which is over there kind of near Lubbock, and then I grabbed a meat load running out of there. And my first week, I was blessed enough to go to somewhere fairly close to downtown DC. And I likely did not survive my second week of trucking. I literally parked the truck and walked to a Jack in the Box that was about a mile away, and I almost quit. So you're not the only one that struggles out there. For all you new people that happen to be tuning in, for Georgia, 2,273 loads in, 1,642 out. So not really looking that great. Florida just in a horrendous spot at 2,755 loads in to 562 out. Florida's already a rough state. That's making it considerably worse. Iowa, uh, decent amount of freight up there. 417 in to 705 out. I don't remember. Looking at the heat map a second ago, I don't remember it being red or anything like that. But I mean that's a pretty good ratio, especially for Iowa. Idaho, nothing too much to speak about, but it is in the positive here. Illinois looking good, 1853 in to 2800 out. That's solid. Indiana, really good shape. Kansas is in good shape, which I think Kansas is a little below average. I actually don't remember. Kentucky in good shape, 739 in to 1010 out. Louisiana, 429 in, 537 out. That's pretty solid. Massachusetts, we're not going to misspeak today and say Maine. Not looking the greatest, but I do think it's gained a little ground from yesterday. Maryland, below average for sure. Maine, 210 in to 69 out. No surprise there. They got 69 loads of water coming out of there. Probably 68. Michigan, a little over 1,000 in to 1,048 out. So it's trending in the right direction, but it hasn't quite caught up. Towards the end of the week, last week, Michigan looked pretty good. So I wonder if they're just kind of a late week shipper. I don't know. I don't know. I'm learning this dry van market, and the more that I do this, give me a couple months, and I should have all this down. Minnesota looking a little rough, 656 in, 437 out. Missouri in good shape, 705 to 1,044. Mississippi pretty much even. I mean, it's a little low, 396 in, 359 out, but not bad. Um, North Carolina, I think it's about the same. Not great shape, about 50%, or about a, well, anyway, 1,554 into 1,073 out. North Dakota, still looking okay. That's fascinating to me. No, but I mean, I guess no, not a surprise. There's not a lot of us that really want to go up there. Although this would be the time of year before it gets frigid. I took a load out of North Carolina and I tarped it, and I was less than 2 hours from the border. By the time I got to Fargo, my tarps were frozen, and it actually wound up messing up and almost brand new set of tarps. So that sucked. Um, Jersey looking really solid, 942 in to 1539 out, really good shape. Nevada's in good shape. New York's in okay shape. They're above average, or above the 50% mark. When I say average, that means above the 50% mark, just so you guys know what's going on in this brain of mine. 1100 in to 1321 out. That's decent for New York. Not great, decent. Ohio in pretty good shape, 1769 to 2330. Oklahoma's gaining ground. I think they were wrecked yesterday, if I remember correctly. 514 in, but now I have 420 out. Oregon, okay, it's above that 50% mark. Pennsylvania's in okay shape. Last week they had, I believe, their load in to load out ratio was like what would the math be on that? I can't remember what the math would be on that, but this seems to be it's above average, but like not as good as it was last week, but still good. South Carolina's in okay shape. It looks like a lot of those loads were taken out of South Carolina because this was much better yesterday. Losing ground in South Carolina. South Dakota, which I do believe was above average yesterday or above 50% yesterday, which is now down. Tennessee, right around that 50% mark, which it was yesterday. Texas gaining ground, although it's still in pretty rough shape, 3,628 into 2,934 out. Utah, a little bit above 50%. Virginia is getting closer to that 50% mark. Vermont, not much to speak about. Washington is now a little down. I believe they were a little bit better shape yesterday. Not so much today. Wisconsin has picked up some ground. They're in good shape. West Virginia is in good shape, and Wyoming, if you're headed there, Godspeed. They're in decent shape. Pillsbury Doughboy laugh. I've never heard that one, but all right, I'll take it. Man, that little doughboy made tons of money with that laugh. Good, just trucking in Michigan. All right, King. That's good. Keep it safe up there. Carlos, I'm getting ready to get my paperwork on start rolling, but for the record, I won't be driving and watching. Yeah, no. Absolutely. We can listen in, or will lawyers say no listening is just as bad? Well, um, the thing about what I'm eventually going to do is I'm going to get this in podcast format. Um, but I kind of wanted to find my feet right with this and figure all that out. But I will upload the audio in the future in podcast format. That way, it is certainly just you're just listening, because I don't want anybody. Yeah, I don't want anybody to get something to happen, and even if you have your phone like over there in the jump seat, and you got it face down, if something were to happen, yeah, no, it wouldn't be good. So, don't tune in if, if you are rolling, would just be best. But there are certainly plans to get it uploaded in podcast format. Speaking of that, let me touch on this real quick. I'm super long winded. I don't think that that's going to be a surprise to anybody. My videos have always kind of been that way. The best videos that I ever have are the ones that I just get straight to the point and get it all the information out. But it's so hard. I don't know. Something's up with my brain, but I just ramble sometimes, right? So that being said, I've certainly noticed, even on the days that I try to cut this down and do it efficiently, I'm still not where I want to be. There's great information here, and it really, I think, empowers you owner operators out there, and it would be great to know, but it needs to be condensed. And I feel like the only way that I'm going to be able to do that is by doing this pre-recorded, with minimal editing, but editing all this stuff out like where I'm talking right now, right? I do a lot of that. I know I'll still leave a couple stories in there occasionally, but I do think that this is eventually. I'm not saying that this is going to happen anytime soon, but I think that that would be best for everyone. It's it's actually going to wind up being a little bit more work for me. I'm okay with that, but it's odd how it's going to be more work to make a shorter form of content, but it will also allow me to upload to the different formats, right? Because not everybody's on YouTube. Some people want to watch podcasts, especially if you're rolling. So it'll allow me to be able to get it out to more people, which I think would be good overall. The more people we have listening in, like the more companies will be interested in coming over and doing stuff. And that whenever I do you know, any kind of sponsorship on the channel, if they don't provide value for you guys, I don't take it. Um, so like, that's certainly a requirement for me, but I really love the idea of this. I think that it could be incredibly beneficial at some point, more so than what it is, to provide a lot more value, be a little bit more fun. And there's a lot of potential there, but I I am going to get away from the live stream at some point. I would say probably not within the next month, but hopefully within the next month. So, or around that time frame. Anyway, are you able to see Real Logistics Walworth, Wisconsin to Orlando, Florida? Because that's my current load. Give me a second. Whenever we get over to that search point, let me get through all of this info first, and I'll be happy to look that up for you, Carlos. I don't know if I'll be able to see that. That load's already booked. It depends on how many they ship weekly, but I can look at that lane, and that'll be easy. Um, I'm well, I don't want to blast that out there, but hopefully you're going down to Florida for a good reason. Let's go over here and check the trend lines, which I'm a little surprised about because I already had a look, right? We will go over these really quickly. I did go over these yesterday, but I will one more time, and then the next couple of days throughout the week, we will just fly through these. Um, Overall, spot load posts. This is going to include van, flatbed, and reefer. From last week, just in general, loads are up 11.5%. But well, from July they're down 13%, and then from last year of August they're down almost 20%. So little rough. The truck post, we're not going to cover that because yeah. Vandal load spot rates over last week, they're up about 0.3%. That's nothing to write home about. From last year, they're down almost 3.5%. Flatbed spot rates about the same as last week, down 0.1%. That's nothing. And but money wise from last year, down 3.7%. Reefer spot rates from last week, they're up almost 1% at 0.9%, but from last year down 3.7%. So across the board, down 3.5 to 4% from last year. Look for that to get better. To get better, gotta love election years, right? This was my big surprise here, seeing the different national spot rates, how it changed so drastically from yesterday. There were loads everywhere. The heat map was hot. It was red yesterday. The rates were super high yesterday. And then I opened this today, was excited to look at reefer because I made a bold prediction and I was wrong. Um, Happens all the time, right? I'm wrong a lot, but I was pretty surprised to see this one. So van rates, they were what no, they were up. They were up 10% from the low. They were at 211 yesterday. They've dropped all the way down to 203. So hopefully you grabbed multi-day lows yesterday, but if not, a little bit down today. 203 compared to 201 from August. Flatbed though held. It only dropped three cents, and so it held on to the most money. It seems anyway. So it's up from August, 26 cents still. It's 268 average. This is average across the whole nation. So you got to keep that in mind. Fuel prices being different everywhere, just load prices being different everywhere. So this is just across the board average. And then reefer actually was down a penny. I would love to have seen what it was yesterday because everything was spiked up yesterday. But today it's updated down 1%, down 1 penny to $2.40 average from August 241. And then the lovely price of fuel. Oh man, sorry, my nose itches really bad. Woo! Average price of fuel across the nation, $3.65 per gallon. Would love to see that come way down for you guys. At least get down to that $3 mark average across the board, but that's a big ask. with the discounts that you guys get from fuel cards and stuff like that, you know, hopefully you're down close to that $3 mark and occasionally getting it for below that, on average. And of course, you can get it for cheaper than that in some states, but would love to see that come down, of course, as I'm sure you guys would. So looking at the heat map, this is for today. It's much rougher than it was yesterday, and I'm quite surprised. What that tells me is that there wasn't a ton of freight that was actually added to the load boards. That's pretty clear, pretty abundantly clear. And as you get closer to the Friday, it does die down, and we did have a short week this week with Monday being Labor Day. Although I know all of you were out there, y'all were still working, but that doesn't necessarily mean that all the shippers and receivers were working. So maybe that was the spike yesterday. I don't know. We'll see next week, right? But you've got California, and as I alluded to earlier, California, the entire state of California is not great. I mean, there's nothing up here. That's all mountains up there in the blue area. But San Francisco's still okay. Not great, but okay. And then, of course, you've got the Southern California market still being solid. Houston and Dallas, they're red, but we know that there's a lot of freight, or there's a lot of trucks in Texas and not a lot of freight out comparatively. So be wary there. This was what I was talking about with Iowa. Remember Iowa was in really good shape as far as loads in, loads out, but the heat maps are just really not there. So that was surprising to see. Normally I wouldn't say this, but what I would say negotiate harder, because what's coming out compared to how many trucks are there. And I think you guys can negotiate a better rate if you happen to be in Iowa. Um, all these flyover states in between Dallas and Chicago, the majority of these were red yesterday. They've all cooled way, way, way down. Memphis market still looking okay. It's going plus 31, slightly tight. Um, it's still in okay shape. So if you happen to be, Western Arkansas, or kind of the middle of Mississippi, you may want to bounce up, or look before you bounce. Always look before you bounce, but you may want to bounce up to that Memphis market. Atlanta's still red, right? But Georgia's in pretty rough shape, so there's not going to be a ton of negotiating over there. The North Carolina yesterday was not this hot, and don't get me wrong, if you can't see it, it's not great, but it is warmed up a little bit. And then South Carolina has actually cooled off some. So you got some freight over here in the Carolinas to be had. Chicago is cooled off. It was red yesterday. It's still in good shape. I mean, it's Chicago, right? You're never going to get stuck in Chicago, or at least you shouldn't get stuck in Chicago. But negotiating power is not going to be strong over there. Indiana has been red since I've started doing this. So it's in really good shape. It's a great spot. Um, Great spot for freight right now. And if I mean, I'm guessing here, but I would say within maybe, what is that, like 100-mile radius, 125, maybe 150 max of that in the Indianapolis area, it's been lit up the whole time. Ohio, super hot. Almost the entire state of Ohio is in really good shape, with the top half being red and the bottom half being that orangey color. So it's in really good shape. The entirety of Pennsylvania is in good shape. Now, here's something to keep in mind. Last week, the western half cooled off and the eastern half stayed red. Um, and that's because the majority of the freight, not all of it, but a good portion of the freight on the western half goes to, heads west or south. And a lot of it over on the eastern side um, stays east or goes directly south. I mean, that's not all freight, right? But that's just kind of what I noticed anyway. New Jersey's still in really good shape. It's the entirety of it's red, although I mean, pretty small, right? I don't even think they have it broken down. They might have it broken down into two, with the northern half being portioned into New York, and so the freight that is up in New York is going to be in that bottom half, and that's what it looks like there. Florida, Orlando. I think you said you were going to Orlando, right, Carlos? I mean, at least you're going to Orlando, like it's a little bit better there rather than heading all the way down to Miami or even just being right up here, in the Jacksonville area. Um, hopefully you've already got something booked to get you out of there. I said that I would look up that lane for you, so let's go ahead and do that. You're heading out of Walworth. I don't remember where that's at. I'm sure I've been there. Heading out of Walworth, going down to Orlando. Where are you? There you are. Going down to Orlando. Vans 53. You are pulling a van, right? Yeah, he's rolling. So anyway, Carlos, here's what you asked for. I've got you coming out of Walworth, going down to Orlando in a 53-foot van. I don't have a weight put in, but the average lane rate for that lane is 2,867 at 231 a mile. Now, for me, just knowing, and I'm sure the rates that are coming out of Florida, kind of that ass whooping you're going to have to take to get out of Florida. I think it's going to have to, I think this lane is going to have to pay significantly more than that. I would say somewhere around at least, I would want to see at least 250 a mile, at least. That way I could just be angry on a $1.50 load all the way out, but still average $2. And make no mistake, I would be angry about it. You got a load running out of Men Menomonee. I don't know. I'm probably not saying that right. For $3,300, it's got two drops on it. 41,000 pounds headed down 259. I mean, I'm not crazy about that load. Although, I mean, 1,274 miles. You could push it and head north and south. It's not the easiest, especially going across there to actually make that 600 miles a day. But I mean, it can be done. You got a load out of Joliet going down to Kissimmee. That's a team. Never mind. Romeoville down to Brooksville, 20,000 pounds. See, this one to me, even though it's a little bit less on the rate, it's actually a lot less on the rate. I wonder why it's such a big difference on the rate. It's, I would certainly try to get this up. They're right there at the spot rate. And I mean, going down to Florida, they know that. They know that you're going to ask for a bump. So I would definitely try to get more money on that. But not, in my opinion, not the greatest of lanes. I do love the distance though. Uh, and if I was considering doing this load, I would make sure that I found a light load. That way I can make sure that I got my 600 miles a day. That would just be me. Here's another one. It's actually going down to Jacksonville, so not all the way in. Probably prefer that a little bit more. It's 16,000 pounds, pretty good. But you got an extra drop in Rock Hill, South Carolina, so I'm probably out on that one. Anybody else want to see any different? Here we go. Jerome, Cleveland, Ohio to Midwest area. Well, I got to be a little bit more specific than that. And what specifically do you mean by the Midwest area there, Jerome? Start by getting Cleveland in there. Cleveland, Ohio, 150-mile deadhead. I get everybody. I think everybody has different definitions of Midwest, so I'd need to see. I'd need to know exactly what you're talking about. While we're waiting, we can look at that. We can look at that short hop over to Chicago. See what that lane pays. $710. It's not a long trip. How many miles is that? 254 miles. That's probably not what you're asking for. Maybe running down to, I don't know. I don't really consider Memphis. I don't really consider Memphis Midwest. Maybe St. Louis. Could look that up. This is 578 miles. Average lane rate's 1,400. Cleveland to Indy. And that's a super short hop. I was wondering. But hey, I'll pull it up. Wherever you got. $772 would be the average lane rate on that. So, you've got, well, let's see here. Can we find a Cleveland direct? We got a Cleveland into Cincy. It's not too terribly far away. There's one to Indy. Salon, Akron. That's a 40-mile deadhead. So let's look at this one. 40-mile deadhead. I mean, they've got it posted at $700. They kind of got you by the short and curlies there because they know that that's the hot market right now. But I mean, good Lord, 47,000 pounds. I had a light truck. I wouldn't even been able to haul that. That's insane to me. That should be way above market rate for that weight. It's crazy. Hope that helps you out there to at least have an idea. Not the greatest. It's the mileage on it's hurting, and then on top of that, you know, you, it's the hot area and they know it. You got Macomb down to Louisville. They don't even have a rate put on that one. Who is it? RXO. I don't really remember dealing with them. I don't remember dealing with them on the phone. I certainly dealt with them. Ran a load or two for them. This load here, 12,000 pounds, full load. It's got it posted at 650. That's low. Here's one for 900, but I mean you got a 2 hour bounce over Louisville. I mean going from Louisville to Indiana or Indianapolis, loaded is not great, but empty, that's nothing. The average rate on this spot rate is 809. You can get that for this load here is posted for 900. 44,000 pounds to get down. That's out of Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. Aliquippa. I like saying that. That's cool. So yeah, so that's what we got for you today. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll keep you guys updated. I got kind of a lot going on. Like I said, I've got some things that I want to do. I want to change up. Want to get this more efficient. I don't think I sincerely appreciate all of you guys that do tune in, and you could please help me out by hitting that like button, work those algorithms of YouTube. But I think I would like to return to this format at some point, especially like maybe on Mondays. Maybe Mondays do lives, and then the rest of the days upload. I don't know. I think a mixture would be fun, would be good. But I've got a lot of plans for this. Um, just need to, like I said, I need to find my sea legs and figure out what exactly is going on here and get these on point. That way I can make them way more efficient and get them out to, the different platforms. That way everybody can watch on their favorite platforms, right? But I think to do that, I would need to get them under 10 minutes. I don't know if that's necessarily possible. Possibly, but I don't know. That's the goal. That is the goal. What do you do exactly? I'm new here. What's up, Dimitri? Um, so I used to teach, right? You're going to see a lot of videos on the channel where I taught. I taught mostly new truck drivers, but I also have a lot of videos out there for owner ops and taking care of your truck and kind of just everything across the board. I'll give you the short version. I'm no longer a truck driver. I sold my truck and trailer a couple years ago. Um, so I don't feel like I can teach actual truck driving anymore, techniques and stuff like that. So what I did was I partnered up with DAT, and they gave me access to the load board without, having an MC. So that way I can provide this for you guys. I go over, I give you the tools that owner operators need to have in order to understand the markets better. So I'm looking at where the freight. I'll tell you where the freight's at. I'll tell you what states are hot, what states are not, what states have gotten better or worse. And occasionally at the end of it, I will look over, specific lane rates if some people want to see that. But I'll be honest, like the main point or the main bulk of the content, it's about 5 to 10 minutes long, really. Um, and I just cover certain topics that will give you the tools needed to make the most money, plain and simple. That's the easiest way for me to put it. I understand how difficult it is when you're running, 22-hour days out there to wake up that extra 15 minutes early to log in just to look at the load boards to keep up with the freight, especially when you've got a load on that, you've got 3 days left on. Um, Probably not happening. So what I wanted to do was, provide this value so that way people can know, or owner ops can know kind of what's going on. So that way they can position their truck better. Hope that answers your question. Absolutely. You're welcome. Thank you for being here, tuning in. I appreciate it. I just fired this up. This is not something I did. I wasn't a live person. I went alive occasionally whenever I was teaching. So I just started this last week and, trying to figure it all out, trying to make it as good as possible. I will get there. I can assure you that I will get there. But bear with me over the next couple of weeks while I figure it out. Um, just hope that it provides some value and some people, make a few extra bucks doing it. I do have a discount for DAT down in the description. 10% off for the first year. You can check that out if you want. If not, that's cool too. But anyway, that's what I'm here. That's what I'm doing. Good morning, work harder. Hey man, I'm still waiting on your answer back. I know I'll get it, but sometimes they take a little bit to respond, and I mean, rightfully so. She's got a ton going on. She kind of takes on extra work doing, kind of being the liaison for content creators. So, salute, cheers, keep the shiny side up, guys. OG, what's up? Appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. Thank you so much, and yeah, that's really all I can say for now. Otherwise, keep the shiny side up.